A double hit from Kingdom of Corals Prestige Reef, how to get your corals into your reef tank, and breaking news. Also, it's the weekend. What more do you want? Let's roll those titles. It's been a week since we did our last update on this Red Sea Max Nano, and a lot can happen in reefing in a week, and we have bobbed a few more corals inside this tank. As you know, chapter 2, the 4 to 8 month mark, is about stocking this Red Sea Max Nano with the most beautiful, exquisite and colour popping corals. However, my timing is terrible. I've timed it when the prices of corals are astronomical, and that's probably due to the huge demand that people have at the moment of joining the hobby and also buying lots of corals. I've got my coral wish list. I've also not got much real estate, so I've got to be careful to stick to that list and make sure I get the corals that I really want to put inside this Red Sea Max Nano. So I was looking for those special pieces. I headed over to Instagram for the first time ever in my life. Yes, I know, it's terrible. And my beautiful wife helped me set up my Instagram account, and I came across this little company. Kingdom of Corals. Now, many of you who watch this channel probably already heard and seen, or maybe even bought from this company, but they seem to have some really special pieces, and obviously, as I say, with small tank I can probably push the budget a little bit and get some of these really nice pieces. So I headed over to Kingdom Corals and did a little bit of shopping. Let's take a look at what I bought. I've done a little bit of reading, a Trachyphylla. So the Trachyphylla is going to sit on the sandbed. They're relatively easy to look after. There it is. Oh, look at that. Is what drew me into clicking the purchase buy now. Is going to sit on the sandbed just down in this corner. That's where the orange hammer was, and it loved it down there, but I've moved the orange hammer up here, and I just want to get the Trachyphylla in there and obviously see what that looks like. So I've gone with one of those. And you all know that I'm a big lover of the torches. I like the colour and I like the flow and the movement. And I've wanted one of these since I started reefing, which isn't very long ago, to be honest. Back in September, it was on my wish list, and that is, no, not that one. That's the one I wanted to get, but it's too expensive. I couldn't afford that one. So I've gone with the gold torch. I hope this is coming out on the camera. There we go. So it's got a purple base. It looks like a bit like a dragon soul, but it is a Indo gold torch, 2 heads. So let's have a little look then inside the box. Oh, I can't wait. These. So, oh wow. So we've got the 2 containers here. I can already see the Trachyphylla is quite large actually. So in terms of frags, this looks much larger than I've ever had. So these are quite substantial frags. That is going to be absolutely stunning. Comes in the same as Prestige Reef, comes in the kind of plastic wrap with plenty of water, and it's also got in there, I don't know if you can see that, it's got little bits of carbon in there just to keep it clean and clear the water and things. Very impressed. So the second one should be the Indo gold torch. Oh my goodness, that is wow. And actually as well, obviously it's come with a carbon, it's strapped down, it's been fastened down in position so it can't move around, but it looks like, actually, so I've paid for 2 heads, and that there is, we've got 1 solid head there, and this one's already splitting, so that's nearly, I would argue that's 3 heads, but I don't know what you guys think. Right, okay. So I've just unscrewed the lid of the gold torch, and you can also see that it is same as Prestige Reef. It comes with this little styrofoam holder to hold it in place, but that looks like one really beautiful frag. Let's just put that there. So we've got them in. So we're going to use our trusty Coral RX. This stuff has been faultless really. I had this as a recommendation on the YouTube channel. You guys said this is what you should be using. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I tend to use about 8 drops. Seems to work pretty well. Really good jet down. So based on everybody's advice, I've always dipped the corals before putting them in the tank, and touch wood, it has worked so far. So they've been in the Coral RX for around about 10 minutes, and as you can see, that water is spotless. I can't see anything moving around there. So I guess that Kingdom of Corals has a process of dipping and cleaning before they even enter their system. And then they're now in here, which is the second stage, which is just my spare salt water that's just on standby for a water change. And let's just check in. It's at 1.024, which is the same as the tank, and it's ticking over at about 20, it's getting up towards 25 degrees, so it's probably about half a degree less than the tank, but that's the stage we're at the moment. So I'm starting to see the colours coming out on the Trachophilia. Obviously once it gets settled in the tank you'll be able to see it a lot better, but that's starting to look a lot happier, and then so is the torch coral. I'm not going to use my turkey baster, that's just for when I use my Coral RX. I just rinse them around, move them around in here, give them a little rinse off, then put them in there, and then put them in here. So the next time you're going to see these is going to be inside the tank. Super excited. So they're now on their third and final dip, just to make sure all that residue of the Coral RX has been washed off. This is coming up to the 20 to 30 minute mark, so 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, and then it will go into the tank, just to make sure that, you say, all those chemicals are off. But so far really good, really impressed with the company of Kingdom Corals. Corals look super healthy. I'm absolutely delighted with my purchase from Kingdom of Corals. The service, the communication, the email service, the delivery was really prompt, and the frags are actually really generous size, I would say, in terms of the frags. So if you've got a larger reef tank, then probably Kingdom of Corals would be a great place for you to shop. Also, if you've got the lockdown blues and you want to treat yourself, then just get yourself over to Kingdom of Corals. You'll be sorted in no time. You'll be loving life again after your purchase from Kingdom of Corals. And also, as I say, I've got me £10 off, so I'm definitely going back. I've put the whites on for this next section because I want to talk to you about what I believe my tank has hit in the 5-month mark is the sweet spot. Now, every reef tank is its own bespoke personality and hits its sweet spot at different times. Now, one thing, when your tank hits its sweet spot, you'll just know, as a parent, you know when this happens, and that is when the corals are looking colourful and full out. So you can see my torches are always out at the moment. The Duncan is absolutely loving life. If the Duncan's happy, I'm happy. The hammer's all puffed up. So the corals are looking great. The fish are super active all day long, and so are the cleanup crew. They're constantly on the move when you've got the sweet spot. So when you get the sweet spot, you'll know, and you've got to capture that moment. Not with a photograph, but with some water testing, so that you know, not chasing any arbitrary parameters, that you know you're hitting the right parameters for your bespoke tank. So let me take you to my Aquarium Dashboard, which you haven't seen for a long time, where I've been capturing my latest parameters. So these are the parameters that my tank loves. Sorry if it's a little bit blurred. So temperature sits at 25.5 degrees. I've got the D&D temperature bar and controller, and it is super consistent. I mean, the temperature changes between 25.4 and 25.7. It's so good at controlling the temperature, so I've got a very stable temperature. The pH, which I think is the absolute game changer in having a healthy, sustained reef. Now, my pH has fluctuated between about 8.4 to about 8.27. Now that is quite high, and a high healthy pH is really helping this tank. Now I'm going to put this down to two things: really good ventilation, which is obviously bringing oxygen in and reducing the amount of carbon dioxide, and I have a Tunzi wave maker at the top here, which helps to aerate the surface. We're getting really good oxygen exchange, and it's keeping those CO2 levels out of the tank, which make it acidic. So that's what I'm putting that down to. My ammonia and my nitrate have been 0-0. I'm going to put that down to my Dr. Tim's fishless cycling. It was a bit of a pain. It took me about 4 weeks to cycle this tank, but since then I have never had an issue with ammonia or nitrite, which is superb, and I'm absolutely delighted. My nitrite, which I test with the Hannah checker, is at the moment settled between kind of 1.1 and 1.2 parts per million. It's really low, and that is a really healthy nitrate level for my tank. So we've got nutrients in there, sustained level at about 1.2 parts per million. And I'm going to put that down to, I do a 20% water change every 4 or 5 days, which is keeping the nitrates lower. And I also have a quite healthy skim, which is removing some of the nitrates as well from the water. What else we got here? We got phosphate at 0.09. Again, that's really healthy for this type of reef tank. Why are my phosphates that low? I've got them down 2 reasons. Number one, I use Roaphos in the third and final chamber here. I've got a bag of Roaphos. Nathan Willard recommended me to put that in there, so I've got it hanging. It doesn't sit, it hangs, so we're getting water flow coming through there with the Roaphos. And also, I believe that the phosphates are a little bit lower because of the regular water changing, and because of the use of quality water such as that I use from Spotless Water. My alkalinity is really stable, between 8 and 9. In the last 2 measurements, it's measured exactly 8.5 DKH. As you know, I dose alkalinity. I dose 3.8 ml per day using the D&D doser, and that's kept it really stable for the corals that I've got inside the tank. I've got quite a lot of LPS corals at the moment, and that is really helping as well. My calcium, as my ICP test was showing, it was very low. Since I've started dosing calcium, things have improved as well. Coral growth has increased, and also the snails have become far more active. And it's also helped me really massively with my battle with the diatoms and green algae. So the Jabo, God bless the Jabo. Actually, it's really good. Where the Jabo is flowing, I don't know if you can see here, where the Jabo is hitting the rockwork, it's stripped that rock of any brown hair algae, and also because of the increased calcium, it's actually encrusting now. Can you see that? So now we're getting encrusting coralline algae on that section of rockwork. So the increase in flow and the increase in calcium has helped with the encrusting nature of coralline algae on those rocks. So again, I feel that dosing the calcium has helped, and it's slowly now on the rise. Magnesium is 1,290 parts per million. My salinity is at the moment 1.024, but that's been really stable. Because I've got the Hannah checker and it's digital, it's really helped me to hone in on a really stable salinity. And I know many of you here have got the Hannah salinity checker, which has really helped. TDS, as I say, is always 0. So the Jabo and the snails, because of the activity of the snails now, always on the move, as you can see them back here, I've got very few diatoms, so the diatoms are dying back. The rock is still very brown, but that is also slowly clearing up. I've not done anything to the tank for the last couple of days, and that's slowly taking its course. So that's what's happening with the tank, and it's never run better. And there's just a few of the reasons what I was doing right. I'm going to tell you some of the things that I was doing wrong at this early stage. I was dosing, as you know, Red Sea Coral AB+. This is an amazing product, and it really does make your corals pop and bring colour and food. But when I only had a few corals in the tank, I didn't need that. Honestly, I really didn't need that. Just the regular water changes, replenishes the water of all its essential trace elements, and that's all you need to do. This was feeding the algae, and that was a bit of a problem. So I've stopped with the AB+. I will start it up again once I get past this brown stage, once it starts to clear, and it is clearing now. Once I get past that, I will start this back up, and also when I've got a few more corals, I'll definitely go back to that product. I've also made sure that I'm using quality pellet food. Now, Frozen food is better because it usually gets consumed really quickly in the tank. I spot feed the frozen food to the fish and to the cleanup crew, the shrimps and things. I spot feed it. There's very little left over from the fresh frozen food, and that's good because it keeps the nitrates low. I use pellet food every now and again. Less so because this can elevate your phosphates, but this one is really good because it actually, even though you put this in your tank, your phosphates don't go sky high. So a good quality pellet food is also a must. I've already talked about my Roaphos. That's in a bag in there. I feel this is really helping me to get these stable parameters and keep my phosphates low and my nitrates ticking over at sustained low level, and that's really helping with the reef tank. There's nutrients in there, but we haven't got that explosion of nutrients, which is what potentially could cause a massive algae outbreak. So that is a great product. But I was making one mistake, and here's confession time here, confession time. I was rinsing my filter socks with the shower head, just using normal tap water, and I thought that's a good idea. It was getting all the rubbish off, but as I looked at my ICP test, I had quite high silica, and that was feeding the diatoms and probably also feeding the brown stage. But I was confused to why I might have silica in the tank feeding those negative algae. I use really good water, as you know, and I've put that down to using the shower head and rinsing that with my sock. Rinsing my sock with the shower head. I've stopped doing that now. I'm using fresh, clean salt water to clean out the sock and then putting it back in the tank. And I think, again, that is really helping me. So there's a mistake that I made, and that's what it's about. It's always learning. No one, I don't think, has mastered this hobby. It's about continually learning and honing your art. Anyway, whilst I've been filming, you've probably noticed there's been a few more extra corals in there, and I got those from Prestige Reef, one of my favourite online coral guys. So let's take a look at Prestige Reef. So the corals have been sat temperature acclimating for about 15, no they haven't, probably about 8 minutes, because I'm too keen to get them out. About 8 minutes. I just want to get them out and see them. They're sat in 25.5 degree fresh salt water with tropic permarine salt, which is the same as the tank. So let's get a closer shufties on what's going on in here. They come in their usual tubs, which is brilliant. Right, I'm going to use this one for the dipping. Process it. So they come in there. Have a look at that beauty. Absolutely stunning. So that's the blaster mushroom. On a very clean, in fact spotless frag plug. In fact, I should have just done it in that bother bowl, but anyway. All that in there. Now, I'm not a massive fan of frag plugs, so I've got some bone cutters coming, and I am going to detach them from the frag plugs. So I put the same water in there. This is the yellowy orange mind melt. That looks awesome as well. Now I've also just noticed that the blaster mushroom, so I've paid for one head, so I paid for one head and it's actually got two on it, so fair play. Thanks Ryan, appreciate that. I don't know about you lot, but I am an absolute nightmare for my hands in a tank, especially in the first few weeks. I just couldn't resist, but I've bought myself a Go-Go Gadget arm, extendable arm. Obviously it gets right down to the bottom of the nano, so plenty of room there, and that's what I'm going to use to get these babies into the tank. So let's get the blasto in. Last rinse, and I know exactly where I'd like him to go. It's going to go down here. By the way, the orange hammer, which is also from Prestige Reef, looks incredible. So there is the Indo Gold Torch. It's actually more or less 3 heads, but it's getting a lovely bit of flow from the J-bow. Now that tip about putting the J-bow in was a really good bit of advice, because I've got my Tunzi up there, got my J-bow, and I've got my return nozzle there. It's getting a really nice turbulent flow. There's Matt Wyatt's Zoa Garden, my little boy, my little mini reefer. Absolutely loving that. Around this side we've got our Blasto mushroom. It's looking on point from Prestige Reef. Also up here on the top shelf already. Alex and Steve checking out the Mind Melt. That looks really good. And then down here we've got the Kingdom of Corals Rainbow Trachyphilia. Now I know they've still got some available, so check that out. Look at the Duncan. It is beaming from ear to ear. If the Duncan is happy, then I am happy. Now I know what you're thinking, what about the Nem? I don't know if you can see it. Bloody Nem. I still can't make my mind up if it was a good decision to add a Nem to a Red Sea Max Nano tank. However, the colours are amazing, and it adds a huge amount of interest to the reef tank, but also it's a bit of a psychopath, and when it's on the move you're absolutely scared to death about what's going to happen to it. But it's got its mouth in a cave. It seems to be happy down there. As you can see, it's all fluffed out its tentacles at the moment. It seems to like the lower flow and the lower lighting in there. I posted a picture on Instagram yesterday, so if you want to check that out, go and check out my Instagram channel. There's a link in the description below, and you can see some more pictures of the Nem. We'll be back for more updates on the life inside the Red Sea Max Nano in our Down on the Reef special in midweek, so don't miss that. Live from the Reef. Now, talking of Instagram, it is it's absolutely brilliant. If you're a reefer and you're not on Instagram, you need to go across there. The pictures and the photography are amazing. There's some really great lives, and there's also, I think this weekend, a quiz which is going to be great. There's loads happening there, but one thing that really happens is stickers. I just didn't understand this until I got into it, but I've been getting some stickers sent to me. So first of all, big shout out to Cogger Aquarium. He sent me a sticker. That's going to go really well in my reefing cupboard. Give him a follow on Instagram. And also I've had a sticker just today from my really good friend, the Bearded Reef, who has a Instagram, and also he has a YouTube channel, so check him out. His content is absolutely brilliant. The Bearded Reef. His sticker is also going to go down in my cupboard. But one thing I want to ask about Instagram: do you lot ever sleep? Oh my god, it's buzzing constantly, all day, every day, with chat, support and messages. It is a really, really great place to be. Now, I've got some breaking news. Now, if you're still watching, I'm really glad, because you're not going to miss the breaking news. We are going live on Jay's Real Reef UK next Friday night at 8 PM. We're going to collaborate with Fish Palace, Moggs' Aquarium and Bearded Reef. All 4 of us are going to join a live stream on the Fish Palace YouTube channel from 8 PM for some reefing chat. So grab yourself a Yorkshire tea, or bring yourself a beer or a gin or whatever you drink, and come along and join us for some reefing chat. It should be a really good laugh, and you can tap into my limited knowledge of reefing on that channel. I am super excited. It'll be the first ever live for Jay's Real Reef UK. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for all your support, and if you're still watching, I really appreciate that. You guys and girls have been absolutely brilliant, but I'm now going to go and make myself a proper brew. Right, Yorkshire that was. I'm going to make myself a proper brew, sit back and enjoy the reef tank. And for now, you lot stay safe, take care, bye bye.